We have multiple locations that are occurring on a mobile aspect in Deer Park are showing that the air quality is good. So from the best perspective of what we understand, it's as safe as it can be.
Those things burn in a really black, disgusting blob, but there's not toxins in there.
It's really just this contrast of, you see the plume, but the monitors are showing that the levels are fine.
Tonight is the third night in a row of a raging fire at the ITC chemical storage facility in Deer Park. You can see from this live picture from Air 11, it is still burning, but we know the situation is now improving. Take a look at how it compares to just 24 hours ago. You can see the fire from last night on the left side of your screen and the live pictures happening now on the right. Harris County tells us the number of tanks on fire is down from 8 to just 4 tonight. But despite constant assurances from officials that there is no safety hazard from the smoke plume, a lot of you are still concerned. So we are dedicating our entire newscast tonight and an army of reporters to answer as many of your questions as we can, starting with the most pressing question: what is happening with the fire right now? And for that, let's turn to Len Cannon. He is live in Deer Park, just a few miles away from the fire. Len, how are things looking from your vantage point tonight?
Mia, good evening. We have seen a couple of bursts of fireballs into the air just within the last hour. In fact, you can see the flames over my shoulder. But as you just mentioned, this fire tonight, nothing what it looked like last night. Also, new information. We are just learning that several school districts in the area say they will not have classes tomorrow. We are talking about Deer Park, LaPorte, Sheldon, Galena Park, Channelview, and Pasadena. They will not have classes tomorrow. They say they are not having classes out of an abundance of caution. Also in Deer Park with me tonight, reporter Brett Buffington. He joins us now with more on what he is learning. Brett?
Well, in the latest tonight, somewhat good news in this firefight that is now nearing its 60th hour. In the last hour, we have learned that firefighters here have been able to contain this fire now to just those 4 tanks. But as you look at this live picture from Air 11, you can see tonight this fire is still intense and it is still big. Of those 4 tanks burning, we are told that 3 of them contain that gas blend, the 4th, the chemical xylene. Of course, this is the 3rd day this black smoke plume has risen from this tank farm. Tonight it is still soaring into the air, but today there was a big change here in how those firefighters are handling this scene, telling us instead of waiting for these chemicals to burn themselves out, Lynn, tonight they are actively working to put this fire out.
All right, Brett, thank you very much. Here's another question we've been getting from of smoke. We have gotten pictures from people as far away as Katy and in the woodlands. How far this smoke has spread, we do not know. But we do know that a lot of people are seeing it. There's just no telling how far it is. To figure out that part of the question, now let's join Larry Sievert. He's got the answers. Larry?
We asked the EPA, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and ITC. The last two don't know. They only test air quality from the ground. The EPA sampled with a plane, but they could not give us readings tonight. One expert told us it contains heavy concentration of the chemicals in the air below. ITC named 15. The state samples all fall within national standards. An expert at UH says that would change if weather pushed the plume closer to the ground.
I would put it more like diesel fuel exhaust, diesel truck exhaust. Because again, it's the black carbons you see come out of a diesel truck when they go up like the on-ramp to a freeway.
TCEU grabs air samples every 8 hours and posts them online. At the moment, state and county authorities say the plume remains close to 4,000 feet above us. Back to you.
The next question that people have been asking is, where is the plume of smoke headed and how close will it get to the ground? Of course, the closer it gets to the ground, the more problems it can pose in terms of health issues. With more on that, Blake Matthews joins us tonight. Blake, what are you looking at in terms of the weather?
Well, good news is that there's no rain or fog in the forecast for tonight, so that should keep most of that smoke up above our heads. But the good news here is that looking at the radar over the last couple of days, you've been able to see that plume of smoke coming right across the beltway there, right there. But the radar has now lost sight of the smoke, meaning maybe it's beginning to thin out a little bit, but we'll take any good news we can get. Now, where the plume is going, this was as of 7 o'clock this evening, but look what happens as we head into 1 a.m. heading into the overnight hours. That will shift slightly to the south, still staying north of the downtown area, but that smoke could take it all the way out to Acres Homes, out towards Willowbrook Mall, and even out towards Jersey Village. Now, let's take a look at a graphic here. The smoke is hanging above our heads, or was at about 5,000 feet. When the atmosphere is warm, it allows the smoke to become a little bit more buoyant, but at night when that atmosphere cools down, it pushes that smoke a little closer to the ground. In fact, it could be as low as 300 to 500 feet as we head into the overnight hours tonight. By 7 o'clock, it'll be about as low as it will get. Now, one thing we will have to monitor very closely is what happens on Wednesday and Thursday as high pressure moves in, the skies clear out, and our air becomes a little bit stagnant. That's when we could see some air quality issues. We'll have more in your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Blake, thank you very much. Perhaps the most important question that people have been asking is the air safe to breathe? That is a question a lot of you have been wondering about, and some of you have reached out to us saying you've even felt a little lightheaded. Well, to find out exactly what the answer is to this, let's turn to Grace White. She's talked to an environmental group that it does in fact their own environmental safety testing. What are they telling you, Grace?
These are the monitors going up around town. It's that tiny box sitting on the side of this radio tower. They're monitoring the air quality at everywhere from fire stations to people's backyards.
No, I have no trust. So we want our own information.
One of the 10 going up is in Bridget Murray's backyard in Pleasantville.
Living in a community that is so close to the chemical plants, the freeway, we are inundated by exposure.
But the closest state-regulated air monitor is 2 miles away. That's why the Environmental Defense Fund is partnering with the city of Houston to put these monitors up. What will they measure? It's something called particulate matter. Think of it like dust or soot in the air.
PM, which is what people call it, is associated with a lot of both short-term and long-term health effects. So it's really important from a public health perspective.
How long will the monitors be up?
We'll have it up for at least a couple of weeks, we imagine, and potentially longer. But yeah, they're meant to sort of be stationary and give long-term information.
These boxes are constantly taking readings, so there's lots of data to dissect. You can check it out for yourself at KHOU.com. Back to you.
Here's the other question. We have not gotten an answer from the company. The question is, how exactly did this fire start on Sunday morning? But investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski has been looking into this. Jeremy, what have you found out?
When a fire like this happens, a company is required to tell the state of Texas what it believes is the cause of all those emissions spewing into the air. In this paperwork filed just yesterday, ITC says a leak in a manifold at one of its tanks is to blame.
The ITC tank farm on fire contains 15 separate tanks in 3 rows of 5. The company tells state regulators the fire initially started right in the middle, what it calls tank 80-8. The cause, according to this state report, a leak that occurred in the tank 80-8 manifold. The release ignited, resulting in a fire within the manifold involving that tank and other adjacent tanks. A chemical safety engineer tells us that manifold serves as a junction box between a grid of pipes in the tank to channel and regulate the flow of product in and out.
Now, the fuel inside that tank likely did not spontaneously ignite, but rather, our chemical engineer says, there must have been a spark or other ignition source. However, what that exactly is, for now, is unknown. Jeremy Rogowski, KHOU 11 investigates.
All right, Jeremy, thank you very much. So here we are again, folks, day 3, a third night. You can see the fire burning over my shoulder and still no end in sight. Hopefully we'll have more clues tomorrow morning when there is another news conference and we may get an idea on what kind of progress firefighters are making. Again, I want to let you know, tomorrow several school districts are closed. Deer Park, LaPorte, Sheldon, Galena Park, Channel View, and Pasadena. No schools tomorrow. Mia?
All right, hoping for a promising update come tomorrow morning. Lynn Cannon, thanks so much. We'll see you later.